In this video, I'm going to analyze the best indie game that you've never heard of. And let me tell you that it beats Sonic at its own game. By the end of this video, you'll understand why a smaller indie team made a faster, more interesting, and more exciting Sonic game than Sega has in years. And then once we understand this indie game, we're going to compare and contrast that to Sonic and his many shortcomings. And I'm making this video because gamers need to see that AAA games should be 100 times better given the resources that they're afforded. So now, let's get into how Haste works, where it shines bright and where it falls flat. Haste is a 3D, fast-paced parkour roguelite where you play as a young courier named Zoe. Throughout this blink and you'll miss it experience, you're tasked with running through various collapsing worlds in order to save the universe. Haste hooks you immediately. One shot is all it takes. You'll soon discover that, as a veteran of Haste, that new game honeymoon phase never seems to leave, even after 10, 20, or even 50 hours. Haste is set apart by its two main philosophies behind the game. Both are quite important, but we'll go through this one first, as it is necessary to understand the genius behind the second one. Philosophy 1 is that every decision with regards to the gameplay feels as if it was made with fun at the forefront of the developers' minds. I'd argue that boost rings spontaneously appearing and giving you an unhealthy amount of speed isn't quite consistent with the game world, story, or anything at all really. However, it's just fun, which is precisely why it's there. They didn't need to add an item that lets you redirect your velocity, but if they didn't, I probably wouldn't be making this video. How about the bosses where most fast-paced 3D games would have a simple race? Escaping a detonating ship, or something we've seen 1,000 times. They add a jumping spider robot in a ginormous open field. A snake boss that you physically have to jump on top of and run along to beat it. I actually don't like this boss. Haste does actually have its fair share of shortcomings, but just before we dive into them, I'd like to point out how the game liberates ideas from other games, and instead of blatantly copying them, like the map system that they took from Slay the Spire, it copies and iterates on it by adding new features or its own spin, like the ability to select multiple floors at once, ultimately streamlining the map system and reducing friction for newer players. As much as I love Haste, it's not perfect, and it's important to recognize the flaws when I see them. Let's get real here. This game has almost no infinitely replayable modes. Slay the Spire drew me in with its 3-act structure that ranges from 20 minutes to an hour. However, all Haste has is the infinite mode that already takes a crisp 10 to 15 minutes to get a few items in. Being honest, I think the infinite Ouroboros mode needs some extra features or even a rework entirely. Furthermore, the game is so freaking short. It's 5 to 10 hours for the main storyline where you play through roughly the same level with 10 reskins. Now, you know the game is great when a complaint is that there isn't more of it. Although, one level with 10 reskins might not sound that appealing, you have to realize that the gameplay is so amazing and fun that it genuinely makes up for that by 2. Now we've been through Haste, but don't forget that I'm a Sonic fan too. I'll be fair and compare Sonic and Haste in a way that makes Sonic look better, even when he isn't. I think you'll understand why I despise AAA after this, so stick around. Let's just take the most recent Sonic game for example, Sonic Frontiers. The racing game doesn't count because it's not a mainline entry. In Sonic Frontiers, you run around 5 big islands, fighting a giant robot boss at the end. But where Sonic trips and stumbles is by having janky player-decided controls, meaning speed, turning speed, acceleration, and much more is in the hands of the player because we're too lazy to balance our game properly. Furthermore, as if it wasn't game ruining enough, the interesting, deep, and skill part of the game can't be the bosses because that's just button mashing, can't be the combat because there's an infinite iframe parry that cheeses every encounter, and there's also 50,000 Mario Maker block puzzles that look like a complete beginner made them for a level design class. I could do this shit in Blender. But how about Haste's interesting and deep skill-driven aspects of the game? We've got the interesting split-second decision-making present in every single jump and landing you have to make. There's the bosses that challenge the developers just as much as the players by making 4 unique bosses that in fact require more than 3 buttons to win. But here's the kicker. What really grinds my gears and makes me mad about this whole predicament. Sega has a couple $1 billion net worth. Landfall has a couple $100 million. Sega had roughly 60 people on the Sonic Frontiers team. With over 5 years of development time and a backlog of games to draw inspiration from, Haste had roughly 15 people, and it was a simple gamble on a new idea. Seriously guys, what are we doing? Go buy this game. Show corporate greed, we won't settle for slop, and vote with your damn wallet for once. But I don't want to end this video on such a political note, nor do I want to levy such criticisms without at least providing an alternative to the best of my ability. So, what can AAA learn? I understand the pain of the Sonic cycle, the high highs of the hype for a new Sonic game, and the inevitable low lows of the letdown after the Sonic game's release. The Sonic team that made good games is long dead. Their generational fail run needs to be studied. Meet potential company. Sonic Mania doesn't count because it was a fan-led project, by the way. Now, having said that, we need to discuss what Sonic can take and learn and implement from Haste. Sonic team's under infinite pressure to make a good game. They likely won't get another big, huge gamble the same way that they did with Sonic Frontiers. I firmly believe that it would be a benefit to Sonic Team and all of AAA gaming if we stopped employing people with money at the forefront of their mind. A game that is a labor of love, fun, and successful financially, like the Spark the Electric Jester series, have a simple formula at the heart of their games. Passion plus hard work plus skill plus fun gameplay focus equals major success. This is most obviously observed with the Silksong developers. I mean, they literally delayed the game because they were having too much fun making it. They don't gaff about money. They just set the game price to 20 USD because they simply don't prioritize money when they don't need to. I promise any indie developer, any AAA developer, and most importantly, I promise Sonic Team that they will get their bazillion-dollar big hit success and a revival of their fans if they simply prioritize the damn game over the money and how much it makes. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that if passion comes first, the profits will come easy. So what am I really trying to do here? I want you, yes you, the viewer, to go and buy and play Haste, the game. I want you to realize just how fun it is, just how underrated and just how much more this game deserves. I want you to subscribe. And if you end up hating Haste, then go ahead and unsub, dislike, and write a mean comment. I am that confident that you'll enjoy Haste. If you want to go watch me dissect a AAA game that actually works and didn't have profits at heart, then go watch this video. Thank you for watching and see you later.